Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Mr. Super Knowledge in the esports and gaming section. This is a video that I'm going to show you. So again, today's hobbies and esports and gaming. This is a game I'm going to show you that's interesting, showing you a chess game where I'm down on material and I pull out the win just because of slightly more solid fundamentals. I might have mentioned before, I like games that are obviously entertaining, but those that require thought planning. So games of strategy usually, and at the very limit or on the outside of that, I like FPS games or action shooting games, but less so than the former. So this is a game obviously in the turn-based strategy scope and it's a game that I mean people make a living off playing chess, like the best players in the world. It is considered an esport, but then there's classical over the table chess that's played, and there are many popular YouTube streamers or content creators like me who have very successful careers just doing that, being experts in chess. Some important names come to mind of those types of people are Hikaru Nakamura, so obviously one of the top five chess players, top five chess players in the world. And then there's also the reputed Gotham Chess, and then there's also Chessbra, who's actually Canadian. So these are all some streamers that I've followed at one time or another, and who produce great content and who are great chess players. So I'm a maybe just an average, well, above average chess player. A pretty good. I mean, on Rapid. I'm 1835, which is respectable. I am 1532 on Blitz and 1277 on Bullet. So, I don't make a career out of this whatsoever. I play for fun and I try to get some good results. That being said, let me show you this game where I'm down on material and I pull out the win by just having more solid fundamentals. Let's go. And at the bottom of the chart here, you see this is first of all, this is on lightchess.org. I prefer lightchess.org slightly to chess.com because their graphics are optimized for 4K where chess.com isn't. That means when I'm looking at my 4K screen, it's more clear on Light Chess than it is on chess.com. Chess.com is like the image is a little bit fuzzy, which is not something that I like. It's not doesn't feel good on the eyes or not clear. So let's get to the game here. I'm not gonna call the positions. I'm just gonna move things on. We're moving our pawns forward. These are like just standard trading positions, and the engine evaluates it as being even for both of us. I develop my bishop out. He's creating space for his bishop on the king side to move up to the second rank. I'm just developing my king, so this is a regular game. I'm castling on the king side. He's developing his knight on the queen side. I cover my pawn in the middle so that protects the pawn and limits the movement of the knight, the white knight, on the top on the queen side. White castles. The engine estimates that we're about even in score here. I mean, this is like nothing spectacular. It's pretty much standard moves, and I would completely agree with that. So here I decide to put some pressure on the knight. Doesn't do much, but sometimes with like lower level players, this will stress them out a bit, and he actually responds by putting his pawn up to move my bishop away. This is not a move of huge consequence, Um, doesn't hurt him, doesn't hurt me. It just makes me have to move my bishop. So I move my bishop away and keep the pressure on the knight. The engine still actually guesses that this is estimates that this is a move that benefits white more slightly. You see the white is now gone past the zero or even point. Advantage is plus zero point 0.4 for that move. But sometimes that doesn't really mean much. Only the computer knows at like a deep level in like maybe 20 moves later how that would benefit white more, something like that. So white counters with by developing his rook to the middle. I countered by trying to limit the movement of the knight and the white bishop on my king side. So he develops his queen to the far queen side and attacks my second rank pawn. See, the engine wants me to go and put my queen there to defend that point as a top suggested move, and the engine is very astute in his suggestions, but it's hard for us as humans to comprehend that on a good level because sometimes the engine just considers too many more moves beyond what the human can with the human brain, right? So I would not want to put my queen there because I wouldn't want him to take my queen and then have stacked one pawn ahead of the other, which is generally not a good thing. The computer thinks, the engine thinks, seems to think that that doesn't really matter. So, but I'm not going to do it. I just protect by moving my pawn up. So now he can't attack that pawn anymore. He responds by, okay, activating his knight into the middle and then threatening my pawn on C6. Actually, and I don't really see that. I don't see that it's already covered, so I go and I protect it with my queen. So now it's actually covered twice, and the computer thinks that's an inaccuracy. And when it's a yellow question mark, it means it's an inaccuracy or not the best move. Not a mistake, but not the best move. Um, so then he said I should have moved the knight to the middle at D7, but I don't see how that develops anything. That would block the other knight from being able to come out. So just that's what he thinks. So let's go to the next move. Okay, bishop moved to the center. So this is developing, allowing the back knight's rooks to be connected. And computer suggests that he should have moved the pawn up to threaten or stress my bishop, and that would have, yeah, made me uncomfortable. So I agree with that. Go to develop my knight towards the middle, threatening his knight to create an offset on his pawns if I take his knight. And there, let's see what he does. He goes and he supports that knight, so removing that threat of the misaligned pawn in the future, and also threatening my queen. So right away, I want to move my queen out or block it. So what I do is I block it, but the engine says okay that I should have sent my pawn up to move him instead, which yeah, that seems like a better move actually. But it's hard to judge that when you're in the fire of the heat of a game with a 5-3 setting. You know, you're not going to think as efficiently as a computer, like unless you're maybe a super grandmaster. So I mean, for every move. So I go and I cover my my queen, sorry, and I still am threatening his knight. Then you can see the next move is he goes and he's doing a trade off. Trading off some pieces in the middle, and the computer says that's a bad idea, and that was an error, and then he did something that was inefficient. Computer thinks that he should have taken the pawn here, which is already protected by the queen, but he could have had multiple like a triple take on this square here, which would have weakened the center and I think given him an advantage in the long run, and possibly allowed an opening on my bishop here. So basically that didn't happen. He just goes and he takes my trade, does some trading in the middle, and it's just even trading. And the computer thinks that, as you can see in the bottom, he had a big advantage in the previous sequence. But after he just does the trading, then it goes back to about even per the engine. So now um, we're just shifting our pieces around, developing a little bit. I develop my rook towards the center, the pawn on his side above the king side rook is moved forward. I put my bishop at a little bit more of a threatening space, angling more towards the middle. He's shifting his bishop around and maybe trying to swing it back to attack the king side bishop. I move my knight up, activating him, and over here, I'm not sure I know what I'm going to do next. Oh, okay, I can go and threaten the queen if I jump up to the second rank of the white. But so basically, it's supported by a pawn, so it's kind of like pseudo threatening position here, and it's kind of active in the middle. So as I said, so the knight, white moves the knight forward to attack the bishop, and I move my bishop. Oh, the computer said I should have moved the bishop back, but what I did was I wasn't sure what to do here. I know that the bishop is protected by the queen, so I'm avoiding having to be forced to stack some pawns, double stack pawns. So I'm trying to create a battery with my two rooks, so I move my rook up to the second rank. That's considered an inaccuracy, but not a mistake, but an inaccuracy. And the engine is estimating that, oh, that white is winning at this point, and um, so the computer says that white should have moved his queen to this location here on the A3 to threaten my queen. And I don't see that how that would have been good for him either, because then I could have taken maybe the queen and then stacked two pawns on his side, which is usually not a good thing for you. But he didn't do that. What he did do is he did take the bishop, which I protected with the queen, of course. I don't want to stack my two pawns. And he shifts his uh, queen back to threaten my knight, and I'm not sure what that does. But the computer doesn't say that it's an error. The computer at this point is saying, okay, white is slightly stronger than mine. So here, I'm not sure what to do. So, oh yeah, what he does is he does a double attack on the pawn. So I go and I cover the pawn attack, the attacked pawn, or I should say threatened pawn. Then he does a straight up trade here in the middle. So it would have been a mistake for me to take it with my queen, because then he would have taken it with his queen. Um, he would have taken it with his. He would have taken my queen, and it just would have created sort of. I think it would have created chaos a little bit for me on for my pawn. So I just take back with my pawn, and then I shift my rook towards the middle, so it's a little bit more active, but it leaves the pawn vulnerable slightly on the far side. He's moving his pawns up, which makes kind of sense for him, because when you can't do anything, you want to move your pawns up. I resist the opportunity to trade, because if I would have traded, I would have lost my rook in the back. So now I'm just playing a little bit of defense here. He's moving his pawns forward. Nothing. That's the right thing to do. Um, so from the perspective of the engine, we're even here. Like I think he's lost some opportunities, and I've probably lost some, but he's lost more because he had a winning position before. Now he's activating his king, which seems to be okay. All right, the engine's not complaining. I'm moving up my pawn here, thinking that I'm going to jam things up, but I made a mistake. I forgot he could do a passing an en passant take with pawn en passant. So that way I lose a pawn and I don't have a chance to immediately take back. So that was a mistake on my part, and now I'm down a pawn, which means I'm down 1 point in terms of material point counting. And so I'm like panicking a bit. I want to take pack back that pawn or that point as soon as possible. So I shift my knight back, my queen back over. Then that left open a pawn. So now I'm down two, but I get to take back that one pawn. So I'm still down one here. So yeah, it's not a comfortable position for me. White is estimated to be winning. So I'm just trying to find a way, a solution, a way in or a way to win. By you win sometimes by taking risky moves or applying pressure or playing some smart moves. So he's just trading up the middle, which is I'm not sure if that was a good idea, but you know what? He's still in the leads according to the engine. Then he's trying here to maybe tempt me to trade the queens. I don't want to do that. I want to just complicate his life as much as possible. I'll just move my queen up. And then he supports his pawn. Not sure that does anything because it's not being double attacked. So now my idea here by moving the rook to um, what is it, b8, is that I want to bring my pawn up here, my rook up here to threaten the queen. And that would allow me to move my pawn up and start running towards the other side of the table to try to get a queen. So let's see what he does. He goes and he supports his queen, which leaves me the opening to do what I wanted to do. So then I do it. Now he has to move his queen, and he can't move it forward because my pawn is double protected, and he has a double attack, but it's double protected. So he's got to move his queen back somewhere. So he moves it back over here to a2. Now I can move my pawn up, which I do. He blocks it with the rook, which makes sense. I just move my rook up. It kind of just tightens up the area in the middle where the pawn is, and it protects my rook if ever it gets attacked and I have to have moved my queen before. Basically, kind of tightens it up. Then he moves his queen here. This I don't think this accomplishes anything. I think it's rather tight and it's going towards draw because it's hard for either of us to do anything. But he has an edge in material. So if we trade evenly, logically he'll win because he's up one pawn and that one pawn should make the difference in the end. So I'm losing this game and the engine thinks so. Not by much, but I am losing. So I'm not sure what to do. I can't do much really because it's all locked in the middle. So I just start moving my pawns up the way you probably should do. He's just shifting pieces around, which doesn't do anything for him. So I just keep moving my pawns up um, in a kind of like conservative, just a standard way. Then computer says he should move his pawn up too, which is it's a fundamental. You move your pawns up when things are kind of locked and you can. So he doesn't. He moves his queen here, which is, um, I don't know what it achieves, but where the game is going, and you don't see every single move that's possible. But basically, um, I see that my pawn can be moved up, running towards the other side. It's just that, and that's probably what I do. Let's take a look, and that's what I do. I move my pawn, so now I'm two squares away from getting us another queen, which is a good thing for me. And the computer says he should run his queen back to, protect that against that eventuality. But he just goes and he attacks my queen, considered an accuracy. And when you get checked, you're just trying to react in a safe way. So if I move my queen back here, well, then the pawn would be eaten here. So I really can't, no, eaten or taken. So I have to move my king off the first rank and keep it close to the pawn. So that's what I do. A typical, reaction, offensive reaction would be for his queen to go here to just keep threatening my king and then try to force some sort of a draw. But he can't do that because it's protected by the rook and the bishop, the queen here as well. So he just moves his queen up to the second rank to threaten the bishop, not the bishop, the rook. And then, well, that doesn't really do anything, considering an accuracy. And for me, I'm just laughing on the way to the bank, right? Because I can move up my pawn, and that's what I do. And now I'm one square away from getting my queen, even though I'm down material. All he has to do is be trading with me, and then he would win. But he's not. He's not able to force trades. Then he blocks my queen. Obviously, he can't let me get a queen. And I know here from the standard the standard move of you stick your rook next to a pawn on the second rank that's about to queen side, and that's really strong because it's protected by the pawn. And it threatens anything that's blocking the pawn from queening. So that's what I do. And then he at this point, I'm in a lead, I think. So I mean, like threat wise, I'll just share with you guys the engine thinking on this. So now I've burst into the lead from a combination of luck and just solid playing. So he's moves. He doesn't know what to do really, and there's I don't think not much to do unless like you're a high level player who knows how to redeem this position. But I mean, it looks like it's pretty much all she wrote. But let's see what he does. So he puts his rook back to the first rank. I go and just take that, knowing that if he takes me back, it's just gonna freeze away from my queen, my queening. That happens, and then that's pretty much game. Because I have two queens, he has one, and we have one rook each, so there's just no getting out of this one, especially since he can't threaten much my king. So he just did a trade here a losing trade here, rook versus queen, and then he'll get the queen on the back rank, but it's covered. So it's now one queen to no queens and no minors, so it's game over. So I had a lot of fun playing this game. I wanted to share to you. Again, you're down on material, not a big deal. Just play more solid chess, and you can come out on top. I also have a lot of games where I'm down on more material than this, and I pull out wins. But I try to show you guys games that are I played recently, so not like many years ago or many months ago, but like just recently. So it's current games and games that are interesting that show you chess, and also just some uh, interesting pullouts, so we'll call them. So thanks for being there. I liked showing this video to you. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.